Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. We have an incredible guest on the show today, Jordan Rose, and we are going to be discussing the secrets to unlocking your purpose. I just want to make an official shout out to our show sponsors, Dreamweaver Artist Ranch. We are streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and we're also streaming under Fresh Takes at E360 TV, going out to Apple TV, Fire TV, Android, Roku, many, many more. We're also on mspnewsglobal.com, and we're also on Business Innovators Radio Network. Let's bring in our incredible guest, Jordan Rose. Jordan, welcome to Brilliance Business TV.
Thank you, Mark, for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you for this opportunity to speak.
I think coaching's so important, Jordan. I myself have had voice coaching. I've had life coaching, business coaching. I'm always investing in my personal development. I think self-improvement and personal development are so important. So I'm really looking forward to digging deep into what you do. I think a great place for us to start is with your incredible book, Code 245, The Secrets to Unlocking Your Purpose. Tell us the story behind it, Jordan.
Awesome. Thank you. So in 2008, I recognized that, life was more than just graduating high school, getting a job, having a house, having kids and marriage, which is good things. But I realized, what is my purpose? So I went on the self journey first. I'm like, who am I? I think one of the biggest questions that the majority of people want to know, regardless of whether they're Black, white, Indian, you name it, who am I? What is my purpose? Why am I here on this earth? So I went on the journey for myself, and I began to discover who I am. And the beautiful thing about it is, regardless of the jobs that I had, so say, as an example, I would be working at a warehouse. I found myself asking people, hey, what do you want to be? Hey, what are your talents? Hey, while I'm doing boxes and putting boxes together, I was more or less coaching people in those type of jobs. And I found that, that a lot of people needed help with their goals, their dreams, who they're meant to become. And so from 2008 to about 2018, that's when I began to write this book, because all the experiences that I had from 2008 to 2018, and I didn't realize it was a huge issue. I thought this was like, okay, I'm just discovering my purpose on my own. But when I began to talk to, I've worked with youth, I've talked to millennials, I've talked to people even old enough to be my mom and my dad. And I recognized, like, whoa, this thing, regardless of age or culture, is a huge thing. People really wanting to know who they are. So in 2018, I was really inspired to say, you know what, I want to become this life purpose coach, because I feel that a lot of people don't even know how to begin, first of all, of how to discover their dreams and their goals, because there's a lot of issues going on. So I said, you know what, I got to write this book. And that's where the inspiration of this book came from, to really get people to understand that every human born has a purpose, has a goal, has value inside of them, something that they have to give the world. And so that's where the basis of the book really comes from.
It's really important to follow your purpose and your passion, and it does take a certain amount of courage to step up and follow your dreams to become the person that you want to become. Like you mentioned, you wanted to become this, and then you followed it. So I think it's really important that the work you're doing is supporting so many people to find their purpose and really to dig deep deep with who they are, that does take self-work and personal development, because it does take courage to really follow your true passions, doesn't it, Jordan?
Definitely, absolutely. And I think that's the thing. I think we've been conditioned to not step out and go after our dreams and our goals. I even growing up, I'm also a musician. I love to do music as well. And I find that when, as an example with artistry as well, where when you tell your parents, I want to be an artist, or I want to be something that seems unconventional, or something about your goals or your dreams, a lot of times it's hard for certain people or certain parents to understand, because they're used to the, sometimes the conventional way of, make sure you have a job, make sure you're secure. Like mind you, I'm not knocking those things. We need those things and we need those people. But there are some people who feel that, this is my dream and my goal, and it takes courage, because a lot of the times people can't even see themselves doing what you're saying you're going to do. So a lot of the times, when you say, hey, I want to be this, and it's like, you can't possibly do that because it seems like it's out of reach. So I agree with you. It takes courage. It takes inspiration and, that constant, persistence on the dreams and your goals, for sure.
That's a great point, actually, Jordan. Sometimes it's your friends, family, people you feel are close to you that don't really support you on your passions and your purposes, because maybe it's out of their comfort zone and it scares them. And I found that in my own personal journey. I was a hairdresser 6 years ago. I transformed to what I'm doing today. Nice. And I would get comments like, stick to what you're good at. You're a good hairdresser. Stick to what you know. But it wasn't my passion, and I had the courage to follow my passion, and there were struggles along the way. It took time to get to where I am today, but I'm so glad that I did follow my passions and purposes. I think it's really important that we do follow our passions and purpose. Now, I would like you to share some of your path, personal and business, to what has got you to what you're doing today. And I know there's going to be some struggles and triumphs, so share some of those as well, Jordan.
Absolutely. So I grew up in the church. I grew up in Christianity, and oftentimes I felt, a great foundation that I have, and I still have that foundation to this day. But I also realized that as I was growing and developing and discovering myself, and it goes back to what you said about a lot of times the close family and friends and the community that you're used to only sees a certain version of how they think you should be, right? And so I think that was probably the greatest struggle for me, because it's like, okay, this is the image I've been giving all my life. I grew up in this, and I'm grateful for it. It's my foundation to this day, but there's still more that needs to be discovered, that I also felt that it was hard to, because Jordan, you're only supposed to be this. This is the box I'm putting you in. So anytime I kind of a little bit went beyond that box, it was like, oh no, what are you doing? So I had a lot of mental issues in terms of trying to figure out what's my real image versus the image that people think I should be. So that, I would say, is one of the biggest issues at the time. And also, I think another important thing that I would want to mention in the journey too is the lack of fatherhood, right? My father not being in the home. And so that also shaped my way of thinking too, in terms of my journey. And, a lot of young people go through that as well. And so I found myself with different issues in terms of anger towards my dad, and maybe even towards, authority, because, again, I still was struggling with the image that I was given versus the image that I was trying to actually discover. So I think it was a very emotional, psychological, mental things that were going on in terms of my in terms of that. And I think I want to mention that a little bit more too, because even in the certain communities that I was in, is when I was beginning to discover myself. And I'm not saying I was perfect. And yeah, I had, I'm not saying I was perfect in my encounters with the communities that I've been a part of. But I also realized that anytime I went a little bit beyond that image, it was shot down, and and the people that I looked up to that you would think would say, yeah, that's good. Wow, you're discovering yourself. No, it was more like, oh no, this is not the way you're supposed to go. And so that's why in 2018, I eventually said, you know what, I'm going to do what's actually been in my heart for many years. But I've always was trying to, here's a third thing to, in the struggle of the journey, was always people pleasing. Always people pleasing. Like, so I would edit my personality. I would edit who I am to try to fit, again, the image of what people thought I should be and not really be me. And I think that's it takes more energy to be someone you're not than to be someone that you really are. And so I found that those were the struggles of really coming to terms that, you know what, not everybody's going to like who Jordan is always meant to be. And now I'm at the place now where it's like, you know what, that's the image I want. And that's the image I'm going for, to be exactly who I'm purposed to be. And if you like it, that's cool. If you don't like it, that's okay. So I would say those are the three main struggles: the dad issues, the community saying, how I should be, and then just really the differentiation between who I am and who people think I should be. So those were, I would say, were the huge struggles I had.
And I really resonate with most of them. I definitely resonate with people knocking you down when you're trying to rise. And I think that's really, really common in entrepreneurship as well. And I just resonate with what you're saying, Jordan. I think it's great to share these so that people know these struggles are totally normal when you are finding your purpose and stepping into who you are. It takes courage, and it can be a struggle in the beginning. I know myself. I was trying to rise. People I thought would support me tried to knock me down before I'd even really made that much progress. So I do really resonate with your struggles. What is the best piece of advice you have ever been given?
The best piece of advice that I've been given is really this might sound cliche, but it's honestly to really be yourself. I think oftentimes we try to search for ourselves in other people. We try to search for ourselves in social media. We try to search for ourselves in everything externally, not realizing that who you're always meant to be is already inside of you. So so for you to be yourself means that you are authentically discovering your true self, your true image, who you're meant to be. And you can't find that outside. You can't find that in a person. You can't find that, and I think that's why a lot of people go through certain things with, trying to find pleasure, right? Because they don't know their true image. So they try to find pleasure and their identity in other things, not realizing your true identity is already, it's already there. You just got to look deep and discover. So be you, be yourself, exactly the way you were designed to be, purposed to be. And let that shine, let that light shine. So that, I would say, is one of the best advices that I've had, and other things too, but I like that one.
It's a good piece of advice. I'm feeling inspired myself, Jordan. And I think sometimes if you're looking outside of yourself, you never feel satisfied, and there's always something to be dissatisfied with.
Yes.
But when you go inwards and you feel happy from the inside, it also transforms your outer reality. Like you are creating your reality by being who you are on the inside with happiness. If I'm making sense.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, for sure. Yes.
So when you're happy on the inside, it transforms your outer reality. Whereas if you're looking for things outwards to make you happy on the inside, it doesn't really seem to work that way. Jordan, I have really enjoyed part one. Please stay where you are. Thank you everyone for joining us for part one of Brilliance Business TV. We're in conversation with Jordan Rose, life purpose coach. We have had a fascinating conversation about finding our purpose. Stay tuned for part two.
Hello, this is Stephen Buckner, and just wanted to tell you I support the Dreamweaver project. It's a great project where, artists such as myself will be able to come together and basically collaborate and to have a retreat to feel accepted and welcome. And that's something that artists here and around the world could always benefit from. So I just want to say, please support the Dreamweaver project. I think it's for a great cause, and I salute all the independent artists out there and artists that are signed as well. And have a wonderful day.
Welcome back to Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. We're in conversation with Jordan Rose. We've had a great conversation about finding our purpose.
Yes.
I've really enjoyed the conversation so far, Jordan. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Can you share a little bit about Dreamers Nation and the work that you do with your clients?
Yes, absolutely. So the book Code 245, The Secrets to Unlocking Your Purpose, was the actual catalyst to Dreamers Nation. So I remember when I was actually writing the book Code 245, the name Dreamers Nation came to my mind, and it was such a great inspiration. At first, I'm like, is this a shirt? I'm like, what is this ideal? So I remember I wrote it down. It was in the springtime in 2018. I wrote it down, and I'm like, no, this is something big. And then I began to discover, I'm like, wait a minute, this is a business. This is a company that I need to start, And so that's where initially Dreamers Nation came from, is from the book. And so the mission behind Dreamers Nation is very, very simple. It is build the dream, build the nation, right? So all of the clients that we have and all the clients that I'm working with and those who I will be working with, is I want people to discover their hidden dream. As I said, every human has something to offer. And that's why I became a life purpose coach through Dreamers Nation, because I want people to discover what makes them, what makes them valuable. And as I said, being yourself, you can't find those things on the outside. So the programs that I have with Dreamers Nation, it comes from the book, and it's in a twofold program in one. So the first aspect of the program is called the Level Up. It's called Level Up. And it's essentially, it helps people mentally and emotionally and psychologically who maybe can't really find what their dreams are necessarily, because a lot of us, we go through stuff. We go through a lot of stuff. So I want to help coach people through life situations that are preventing them from seeing their dreams and their goals. And that comes from the book as well. So I called it the Level Up program or the Level Up course. So once people get into that, and I've seen it, it's so beautiful where now things become clear. They begin to see who their value is. And now they're like, it's so beautiful when I see the transition where people are like, you know what? I want my goals now. All right, no, let's go after the dreams now. Because now they've processed what they've gone through and the healing that was taking place. And now I can now see my future. When I get there with clients, it's beautiful. I get so excited. And then the second part of the program is called Dream Time. Now they have the time to dream because nothing's blocking them. They have more clarity with their life, more clarity with who they are. And now it's time to dream. Now we write down what are their goals, their dreams, what do they see for themselves, where do they want to go. And I help to build a plan and a motion forward so that they have something to look out for and have hope for their future. So that's essentially Dreamers Nation in a nutshell.
What I like about you, Jordan, you're leading by example. Like you said, if you build it, they will come. You said it differently, but that was how I took it. But you get an idea and then it's like you create it and manifest it. I can tell you're really a creator of your own reality, and then you're taking that and really supporting your clients to do that. And you are setting your own goals, and also you're reaching your goals, which is incredible as well. Who are your ideal clients, Jordan?
That's a great question. I know we're typically supposed to target certain people, but I
Not
want to not
necessarily.
necessarily right, not necessarily, but we've been taught that you only have
I
one or
don't teach that
right,
at all, and it
right.
annoys me when people do say you have to niche down, and I'm like, I work with all sorts of
Right.
people.
Right. So that's why I want to start with that first, because sometimes we've been told, oh, you only can have one target or a couple targets. But I realized over the course of me helping people, and not even just establishing myself as a life coach, life purpose coach first, but I've had experiences with working with youth, so teenagers from 12 to about 18, where I've spoken to a lot of them where they have no idea what to do after high school. So I've worked with them, and I'm still in that field of working with youth as well. And I've also noticed some people, I would say maybe in the millennial generation, that I've also worked with, where it's like, okay, yeah, I have a career here, or yeah, I know there's something futuristically important about my life, but still don't really have a direction. And I've also worked with people old enough to be my parents, where it's like, oh my gosh, I've had people old enough to be my parents ask me, where were you 20 years ago? Where were you 10 years ago, man, when I was younger and I guess more passionate about their goals? Because a lot of people feel that it's too late because I got kids now, I got bills. So I've worked with as young as 12 to as old as in their 50s,
It's nice. You got
and
nice variety
nice
there,
variety.
Jordan.
Right, because I realized that, and I think my target is the family. I want to target family. So parents who, for whatever reason, the dreams or goals that they did have. I've even was working with one person, and she was telling me that her kids were like, "Mom, you could do it. Like, go for it." But because okay, certain age or whatever, it's like So even the children were trying to encourage the mother. So I realized, what? I can't just go for just the youth, and I can't necessarily just go for the parents. This is going to be a family thing, because another thing I want to mention too is Dreamers Nation, right? It's a nation of dreamers, right? Where every dream comes alive. And this is what I believe, that every nation started like a family, started as a family, it became a community, and then from a community, it becomes a nation. So Dreamers Nation, we want to tackle the family unit and help the children, help the parents, help the community, so that it will ultimately become a nation of people where all their dreams are coming alive and they're doing what they love and giving back to the world what they're supposed to give back. So
I
that's
love
what I
it.
say, what my target market.
And I like how you're supporting children. That's really needed, and they will soak it up and go straight for it. But I think you have a great point there with parents, because they're a little bit later in life. And I know with my own mom, she would always get a real job. When I left school, I wanted to go into acting and drama and follow my dreams. And I think they're a little bit safer in their thinking. And maybe that's more of an old-fashioned thing in the olden days. So I think it's great that you're helping parents as well, because it's never too late to follow our passions and purposes in our 40s, which I'm 40 now, in our 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s, we can go after our dreams. Now, we've talked about the importance of goals. What are some of your goals, long-term and short-term, within your industry, Jordan?
So I would say my short-term goals is, for my book, I'm going to be coming out with an audio book version of the book. I'm also going to be printing some physical copies of the book. So that's short term. And of course, the ebook. So different people will have different options. Some people like to listen because they're always on the go. Some people need physical copies. So my short-term goals, it would be, I want to get the message out, right? Because it doesn't make sense me trying to promote Dreamers Nation when the root behind Dreamers Nation is the book. So that's my short-term goal, is to really just spread the message of Code 245, the secrets to unlocking your purpose. And I actually want to share something a little bit about that. In the book,
of course,
I give an imagery of the butterfly, right? Where we're all in and I use the butterfly stages to show the stages of humanity. So the caterpillar stage, and then what's called the chrysalis stage, is where they go into that crystallized, or that hard shell, and then the butterfly stage. So I really want to push this book to help everyone get to their butterfly stage, because when you transform to that butterfly, it looks nothing. The butterfly looks nothing like the caterpillar. You would not be able to recognize who you will become when you become the butterfly. So I think my short-term goal is really to push the message behind Code 245, and so that people will understand the concept of Dreamers Nation. I would say my long-term goals is really to establish a community that will be able to provide for themselves. And, you know, because a lot of people are losing their jobs now, and a lot of people don't know what to do, because the old way of thinking of, okay, if I have this job and I don't have this job, oh gosh, how am I going to provide for people? So long-term goal is I want to be able to have access to certain things and say, you know what, you can do this, or you know what is your goal and dreams? I can invest in that a little bit more, so that people can now be able to, you know, provide for their own families through their dreams and their goals. So a long-term is now eventually having that community together where you can now, you know, help each other and help your family, and the goals and dreams that they have will fund their life and fund their family's life. So that's my long-term. I want to be able to create that, and all over the world, really, you know, in different pockets of the world.
It's great that you're planning out your goals, you know what your vision is, and you are really setting intention to go after your dreams. How do you plan to expand on what you have already achieved?
I think it's beginning to work together. I heard this entrepreneur, I was watching him, and he said something very powerful with something that entrepreneurs shouldn't do. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, he said, you cannot do it by yourself. He's like, yes, all entrepreneurs, true. If you want to be successful, you cannot do it by yourself. So to expand, I want to now be able to work with other people who have the same similar vision, or can give me a different perspective, and grow a team and stuff like that. So I can expand the vision, expand the mission, because the mission is large. It's great. I'm excited, but I'm looking for those who I can begin to network with on that type of level to help push it and build teams and stuff like that to take things to a whole nother level.
It's a great point, and that you can't do it on your own. And the more you grow, the more people will be around you, supporting you. What are your inspirations and why?
So I think the biggest inspiration, as I mentioned earlier, I grew up in the church. And so I think the Bible is one of the biggest inspirations for me, because it helped me to begin to understand purpose, to begin to understand destiny, begin to understand who you're meant to become. So I would think that's one of the biggest inspirations. And I also read a couple books and a couple people that one person I will mention specifically. I read his book. His name is Dr. Miles Monroe. He's no longer alive, but he wrote a book called The Power of Vision. So when I read that impacted me, I mean, tremendously, you know, and that's why I believe, you know, the purpose thing too, as well, is that's kind of what was helping me to understand purpose more. And I also read books like John Maxwell, The 5 Levels of Leadership. So that was another one I was like, man, this, you know, so I had some books that really shaped my way of thinking, you know, because I understand one of the values of Dreamers Nation is actually leadership. So I have about 5 values. One of them is on family. That's why I talk a lot about family. Another value is mentorship. Another one is leadership. And the last 2 is hope and vision, right? So everything I'm doing is regarding these 5 major values that Dreamers Nation, everything I do is regarding that. So I would say those were the biggest inspirations that really push. And I read one more book too during that time before I wrote my book. It was Bob Proctor, You Are Born Rich. Right.
I love Bob Proctor. His work is amazing.
So those were the books, and those are the people, and my upbringing. All those together, I would say, is my inspiration for everything I'm doing now.
I love it. I feel inspired, and great values as well. I love your values. Jordan. So my last question today, you have built a great community. It's expanding. You're an author. You're a successful life coach. What is next for Jordan Rose?
What is next? That's an awesome question. So it's kind of alluding to more of like what I mentioned about the community building. I'm planning to, I don't know if I should say it yet, but I'm planning to go on, let's say it this way. I'm planning to go on a, let's say, mission for now. I'm planning to go on a mission in the communities that I'm a part of and to really push this message on Dreamers Nation and Code 245. I actually have some things coming up in 2022, but I don't want to give it all away. I want people to kind of guess and be inspired and curious on what's coming. But what I will say is that I'm now pushing this message out into the communities. And so that's what's next. I'm campaigning, if you will, if you want to use that term. But I want to get people guessing and curious on what's coming next. But I'm really wanting to push this community.
You're really a person of service and supporting others. You will do great things, Jordan, because when you're a person of service, it's a recipe for success. I'm guessing people can get a copy of your book, Code 245, on Amazon, right?
It's not on Amazon yet. I'm planning to release everything in the springtime. So when spring of 2022 comes, I'll shoot out a mass message to say that it's available on those type of platforms. But I'm waiting until the full launches in terms of all the other audiobook, physical copies, as well as the ebook. The ebook is out already on my actual website, but I want to now launch out it with the audiobook, and I want to launch it out with the physical copy. So that will come in spring of next year.
Let me know when it does come out, and I will share on my social media, Jordan.
Awesome.
Just share your website address in case there's anyone out there who would like the ebook, Jordan.
Awesome. So the website is www.dreamers. So dreamers is with an S, dreamersnation.com. So www.dreamersnation.com. And then you see the section with book, buy book. You just click it and you get the ebook. It's right now.
Perfect.
It's the ebook.
Now, Jordan has kindly offered a complimentary consultation. If you have connected and resonate with Jordan today, please reach out for a complimentary consultation or to just connect to ask questions to Jordan. Go to dreamersnationmedia@gmail.com. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, this is the email that they can contact me. So dreamersnationmedia@gmail.com. Yes.
I don't know why I've put the @ sign at the beginning of that. That may be your fault, Jordan, but go to dreamersnationmedia@gmail.com. That's dreamersnationmedia@gmail.com. dreamersnationmedia@gmail.com. Connect with Jordan. He's a great guy. If you want to get clarity for your future, create a vision, create a plan, set goals, work towards them. And like Jordan mentioned, if you're a parent, if you're a teenager wanting to set some goals for the future, reach out and connect with Jordan. And also you can connect with Jordan on social media. He's on Instagram @DreamersNationOfficial. That's @DreamersNationOfficial. Jordan, I am going to let you say a few wise words to close the show. We've been in lockdown for the last couple of years. We're slowly moving out of the pandemic, but we're still on a bumpy journey. Some people may not be feeling very inspired for the future. There may be people out there wanting to really make 2022 their best year ever and really go into a more positive light. Share a few words of wisdom, how we can reach for the stars, set goals, and really climb towards a better reality.
Absolutely. Thank you for that opportunity. I just want to, for those who are watching this, I think this is my thing. Sometimes we hear, that next year is going to be the best year, or oh, New Year's resolution is going to be this year. But what I want to say regarding those things is I honestly believe in my heart of hearts, that 2022, if we all begin to tap in, that it will be the best year of our lives. But Jordan, what are you talking about? There's this going on and this going on, and we're locking down. Here's one thing that we got to understand, right? About positivity and negativity, right? You're setting your mind when all we do is think of things that are negative, and it's a lower level of thinking, right? So, but when we begin to set our minds above what's going on, and begin to dream. And I'm not saying it's easy. Please, I'm not saying it's easy. I've been going on this journey since 2008. But what I can promise you is that if you can just begin to take small steps, I want to give you an example. Small steps. One of my clients that I'm working with now, I was giving her a small step, and I was giving her a task to do. And I want to give this because this is super important to help you level up. That's one of the names of the program, Level Up, right? So what I had her do as like, you know what? This might sound interesting, but I told her, do 10 squats. And she's like, okay, do 10 squats. And I told her, this is easy. This is something that you can, without a shadow of a doubt, accomplish. But what was I doing? I was setting her mind to begin to program that, hey, I can do something. And then she was doing it more.
Powerful.
I can do something. And you know what's beginning to happen? She's beginning to look beyond the squats and saying, what else can I do? What else can I accomplish? Right? So I took a small task, something very simple for her to do, to reprogram her mind to say, you know what? No, I have something. Wait, and you know what she did? She upped it. She's doing more than 10. I didn't tell her to do more than 10, but she recognized that, you know what? I have set my mind above the negativity using this simple step, but she didn't realize I was actually reprogramming how she saw herself, the image that people want her to be, to begin to see the image that she's supposed to be. So likewise, use something that you can do that is very attainable, and it will be able to help you to set your mind for next year that, you know what, if I can accomplish these small steps, I can then do something else as well. So be encouraged. Every one of you watching this video, the fact that you're born, the fact that you're watching this, the fact that you're alive, you're full of life, you have something to offer this world, and it's not too late. You could be 50 years old watching this, 45 watching this, or 25 watching this. You are here on this earth to accomplish the greatest journey ever, discovering yourself and delivering it to the world. So I wish every person watching this success. And I'm going to give you a definition before I go of what success is to me. Success is the ability to discover your true self, and then the freedom to authentically express that true self. To me, that's true success. And I wish you become that. That's it.
Jordan, what a great way to close the show. I'm feeling inspired to get even bigger dreaming now, Jordan. And like you mentioned, just small steps. Thank you so much for being my guest on Brilliance Business TV.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Mark.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you, everyone, for watching Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.